Welcome everybody to 40 things to achieve before your 40th birthday. I came across this writing many years ago. It must have been about 30 something years ago. I came across the writing of this sage. He wrote this perhaps 3,000 plus years ago, and it is still very relevant and powerful today. He said, "It is good for a man or woman to bear the yoke while young." I tell you sincerely, there probably isn't a more important focus on what we are going to be discussing today and then a couple more days in the week that we are entering than this particular verse. And I think everyone should memorize it. Type it in the comment section, memorize it, write it, and put it in your pocket. Because not long ago, and then I see it in fact everywhere, not just in Africa, but also in the United States. The other day, while in the US, in the store, I saw this woman. This woman should be in her 70s, and she's still working as a store clerk in the 70s. And if you are working in your 70s and 80s, like I will do when I'm in my 80s, let it not be because you have to work. Let it be because you want to work. But when you are in your 70s and you have to work, that is a very sad thing. Because a couple of years ago, while my children were still very young and growing up, we had a man in the neighborhood who was a gatekeeper, gate man. So he opened gates for people to go in and then come out. This man was close to 80. At least he was in his 70s. And you could see how he will drag himself grudgingly, very weak energy, like he's going to faint. And then he will open the gate so slowly, then look at you with such a depressed, angry look. Ho! At 70 something, you're working as a gate man. You're working like as a gatekeeper in an estate, opening gate for children, like your grandchildren, the age of your grandchildren, people the age of your grandchildren. And you are doing it not because it is a service to humanity. You are doing it because you have to survive. So I asked my children when they were young, I said, what do you think that this man did? He's in his 70s or late 60s or something. What do you think that he did when he was in his 20s? And the children are very brilliant. So one person said, oh, he played football. This one said, oh, he was watching TV. Oh, this one, he was playing too much. He had no focus. He had no vision. And this is why in his old age, he was paying the price. So we are doing this today because I want to tell you that as a younger person, before you get to 40, there are certain things, certain yokes you need to bear. There are certain things you need to achieve to make sure that you do not have a very, very regrettable old age, like it's happening all around you. If you've ever seen in your neighborhood or you've seen anywhere, people who are living like that, people who have to work because they have to work, not because they love to work. Type in the comment section that, yeah, you're familiar. Just say familiar. Type familiar in the comment section. If you're familiar with that, you've seen people who work because they have to, not because they want to, in their old age. And then the saddest thing is that these people are doing this. They are doing minimum wage activities. Minimum wage activities at your 70s. Guys and girls, that is hell. I'm telling you, it's not fun for people who are doing this. Now, so what I have on the screen is the African countries, the top 10 African countries with the lowest life expectancy, according to World Bank. So you see countries in Africa where the lowest, where the life expectancy is 52 years, 53 years. Meaning that if you're already 50, if you're already 40 and you're an African, you've already spent 80% of your life. So literally you have just 10 to 12 years left. I mean, going by the life expectancy. So any number of years you have after that, those are like additional, like what do they call it? They call it in football, like extra time. Therefore, 40 years is a very long time. Yeah, some African countries have it better. So Reunion is 84 years, and then even Libya has 74, 75 years, while Nigeria is only 52 years, 52.7 years. So if you're Nigerian and you're already 30 or you're already 40, you have lived most of your life. You've lived beyond most of your life. Okay. That is why this conversation today is very, very important. So in Africa, generally, in the year 2000, the life expectancy in Africa was 52.7 years generally. And then in 2024, this year, it has gone up a little bit to 64. But whatever the case, by 40, you have already lived past half of your life. And if you have squandered half of your life, you've squandered half of your life on earth, that's a very, very, very big thing. So that's why we are talking today about what you need to do, the 40 things that you need to do before your 40th birthday. And then as we are talking about that, I don't want you to be discouraged. Maybe some of you here are already past 40, and then you probably have not even done up to 5 of the things I'm going to be sharing with you. Don't be discouraged, because I myself did not do all 40. But I want to make sure that you succeed where I failed and that you learn. And again, like I told someone who had asked, what of us who are beyond 40? After 40, I had not achieved all the things I have in the list here myself, but I didn't stop because I was after 40. You just need to be aware of them. So if you are in the call and then you are past 40, it does not matter. You can still get there as long as you build the self-awareness in the things that I'm going to be telling you today. So meanwhile, please type your name in the chat and the country from which you're joining. Everyone, please do that. And then I expect you also to share. So we normally do, that's a ritual. We want many more people to have access to this information. We want to change the narrative in our countries. And it starts with us and then our families and our friends. So share this, click on the share button right now, and then come to the comment section and then type shared so that I know that you have done that. Okay, so Agnes Ogenetega, okay, is from Delta State and she's a nail technician or technologist. Okay, excellent. Okay. Dabuni is watching. Cynthia Oyairo. Happiness Isaiah is in the room. Habiba Kenshinro Danjoma is in the room. Billy Steele. Malik, good to see you again and again. Beatrice is in the house. Olejeme, okay, is in the house. And then we have Samuel Antwi. Okay, sorry, I hope I pronounced that well. Thank God, Nyentel, all right. Thank you all for being here. Please share this and then type shared in the comment section. And then those of you watching in YouTube, do the same thing. Comment and then share as you're watching this. Okay, very good. So now, who am I and why am I doing this? For some of you who are joining us for the first time, this is actually a 1,000-day marathon, a 1,000-day challenge. And today is day 32. So we still have 968 days to go. And I asked myself a question over a month ago. If I had only 1,000 days to live and I have to impart the most valuable lessons I have learned to the world, what would I teach the world? That was a profound question. And then I came up with these 3 profound answers The first is that I'm going to teach about financial intelligence and financial independence. Why? Because for more than half of my life, I suffered very, very strongly. I suffered badly. In my relationship with money, it was not very good. I did not have financial intelligence. So much money came into my hand during my active career with Shell and Chevron, but I did not know how to manage it. But over the years, I've learned from my mistakes, and I do much better today than I did in the first half of my life. And so I want to teach the world how to become financial independence. And also particularly because we live in a financial universe. So if you don't get your financial act together, the world is going to be a very mean experience for you. So everyone, type in the comment section, financial independence, financial independence. So that's the first thing. Second thing is to help you scale your business. I have been tremendously blessed to work with Stanford Graduate School of Business of Stanford University through the Stanford Seed Program. And I was mind blown by what is possible in the world of business. In fact, that was when I came to the conclusion that if anyone was going to change the Caribbean, if anyone was going to change Africa, if anyone was going to change any part of the world, it's going to be entrepreneurs. So I pitched my tent with entrepreneurs. So help you scale your business with the things I learned from Stanford, and also teaching over the years in Lagos Business School, in China Europe International Business School, working with business leaders across 15 countries in the world. The third thing, which is what I'm really most proud of, is family. So I would like to bring the conversations around the family, parenting, fatherhood, motherhood, parent-child relationship, husband-wife relationship. I want to bring it to the front burner, because the moment the family collapses and family values collapse, the society collapses. And that's what we're experiencing in many of our societies today. There's a lot of collapse in value system, value for life, value for integrity. People do incredibly horrible, immoral things every day, and they don't even see what is wrong. So I want to bring back the family values. So these are the three things: financial independence, scaling your business, and building a very strong family foundation. When a child grows up in a family with very strong values, that child has very, very healthy self-image. That child has confidence, and that child is positioned to succeed much better in the world. So this is what we are doing. And my name is Ogbo, Awoke Ogbo, for those who are joining for the first time. All right. So why do these 40 things I'm going to tell you? Why before 40? Because the years leading up to your 40th birthday are referred to as your golden opportunity. These are the years that all the incredible career, business opportunities, relationship opportunities, that's when they happen. That's when relationships are either built or destroyed. There's a whole lot of the dynamics surrounding the 40th birthday. That's when your habits solidify. There's a reason the Englishman said a fool at 40 is a fool forever. So it's a very, very sensitive milestone. 40 is a very, very sensitive milestone. And even in the Jewish tradition, you hear about 40 days of fasting, 40 days in the wilderness, 40 years in the wilderness, 40 that, 40 that. So 40 is a very unique period, where you can shape your life or you let it slip away. So many people slipped at 40. They hadn't gone anywhere at 40, and then they never recovered. Only very few people who slip, who miss it at 40, few people eventually recover. But it's possible for you. It's possible for you here, okay? Yeah, so type in the comment section, it's possible for me. Type in the comment section, it's possible for me. So it doesn't matter what your mistakes in the past may have been, it is still possible for you if you wake up. So that is why we are emphasizing 40 for those who are yet to be 40. Now, what is going to stop you? There are 7 major enemies, 7 deadly enemies. Type 7 deadly enemies in the comment section, everyone. Yes, type 7 deadly enemies. 7 deadly enemies. On YouTube, those of you watching on YouTube, type 7 deadly enemies. And then if you're already a regular in our evening programs, you know that I usually encourage you to type things, to react, to share. If you haven't shared this, please take a moment and do it right now. So interact with what's going on, because it is not a seminar, it's not a lecture in the classroom, it's actually a coaching session. So this allows me to see that you are interacting with what I am doing, because for some reason Facebook is unable to show both my screen and to show my face, or at least I haven't figured out how that happens, so that I could be seeing you and then you could be seeing me. Okay, so yes, I can see that. Chinyere Onyabo, it's possible for me. Excellent. Yeah, Neobong, 7 deadly. Yeah, fantastic. Yes, okay. Yeah, please interact with me. When you hear anything that's an aha moment, type it there so that I know that I'm actually interacting very, very strongly with you. TG Bunker says, thank you. I just watched the video. I pray not to go back. So help me God. Very good. Yes, he will. He will. So let's talk about the 7 deadly enemies. Emmanuel Ubi, thank you very much for sharing. Those of you who haven't shared, please do. Evans Holyfield, thank you very much for sharing. Okay, let more people as possible get this information so that we can build a healthier and peaceful society. I'm sure many of us are not happy with the way things are going on in our country, in our different countries, and it is because of these things we are sharing. Okay, so what usually stops people before they are 40? What are the deadly enemies, the booby traps that keep people from achieving the things I'm going to be listing for you before they are 40? The very first one is ignorance. People don't know how the world truly works. I'm telling you, I meet people in their teens, in their 20s, in their 30s. They have no clue how the world works. Especially the people who are entitled, who feel entitled. And I meet them every day. You feel entitled to your uncle's money. You feel entitled to your neighbor's money. You feel entitled to somebody, and you have no idea, how the world works. So you need to actually study the laws of the universe, the laws of sowing and reaping, and then stop all these superstitions, about luck. Everyone who has been lucky, in quote, has worked their butts off, including me. I saw somebody in the comment section saying, oh, some people is grace. What is grace? So we misuse lots of words. We say, oh yeah, you have grace. That there are people who have worked harder. So the guy was telling me there are people who have worked harder than me and they are not where I am. I don't know who teaches you such things. Grace enables you. It actually empowers you to work hard, not to be lazy. And some people are just lazy. They are mentally lazy. They are physically lazy, and they are there saying, "Oh, they don't have grace." Like I have grace. Do you have the slightest single idea how many hours I work every day? Do you know that? Do you know how I read or listen to a podcast? 3 hours minimum every single day. Every single day. I'm jogging. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm working, I'm doing dishes in the kitchen, like some of you made me do dishes this week because my wife and I had a contest, planking contest. She won, but we're going to do it again. And I asked many of you, I don't know how many of you saw that video, type in the chat, I saw it. And then I said, listen, you people should vote for either of us, vote for her or vote for me. And 90-something% of you voted for her. And I specifically told you that if you voted more for her than for me, that I'm going to wash dishes for 7 days. And that's, so many of you just said, no need vote. You just sent me straight to the kitchen. So I've been doing dishes. I've been doing dishes for 7 days. Malik saw it. Malik, I can't remember whether you voted for me or you voted for her. That's when I start knowing those who are really those who are really on my side. Okay, so as I'm doing dishes, I'm listening to podcasts. 3 hours every single day, and I've done it for many years. So don't start telling me grace, sir, you have grace that other people don't have. What nonsense. Grace is what enables you to work harder than other people. In fact, the guy you people quote, that's Apostle Paul, who used to say that thing. He said, I have grace to work harder than all the other apostles. So grace doesn't make you lazy. Grace makes you work. Many times I have sat in this very place I'm sitting, talking to you, working, creating content, creating things. Do you see how prolific my page is? You think it's something a lazy person does? All those videos you see and all those thinking, all writing, sometimes 2,000 to 5,000 words every day. Then when you see some bit of what you call success around me, you start saying it's grace. So you are not aware of how the world truly works. Many people do not know. So that is one enemy that will stop you. There is the law of compensation here in this universe, meaning when you put in A, you are going to reap exactly what you put in, multiplied. It's a sowing and reaping universe. And so many of you, some people, they go like the other time I heard about, some cultists, who rape 3-year-old children in a certain community. And then they said that when they rape, can you imagine a 30-something year old child forcing yourself into a 3-year-old baby, 4-year-old baby? And then they asked them, they said because that when you do that, if you have HIV/AIDS or something, or you have bad luck, that molesting a 3-year-old, will cure it, or that you will collect the child's destiny, all kinds of stupid things that people do. And you think you're going to get away with it because you do not know how the world works. That thing will show up. Some people call it karma. Some people call it anything. What you sow is what you're going to reap. Don't think that you molested a woman, you forced a child, and harassed and violated a child. Don't think you will be free. You will never be. Unless that sin is cleansed, is forgiven, and you've done restitution. You can't go free. It will catch you. There have been cases where a man, when he was 25 years old, he molested a girl and then had his own baby, had his own girl at 30. And then by the time he was 35 or 40 years old, that child was also molested. And he has forgotten that he did it to somebody 20 years before this time. So your ignorance of how the world truly works is a big problem. So if you know how the world truly works, you know that there is a relationship between effort and result. But many of you, I see many of you in Africa, you're sitting down somewhere waiting for some heavenly thing. That's why you forgive me. This thing gets me triggered. That's why you stupidly go to a place where they give you miracle money. I have watched a video of some of you. You went to a place and a prophet said, bring out your phone. And then he said, I command money to enter your phone. My goodness, fellow Africans, what happened to your head? And then you are all shouting, amen, amen. And somebody said, bring out your phone. Let us command money. And then the guy was saying, I command Zenith Bank to give credit alert. Are you insane? That's not how the world works. And that's why many of you are sitting in your houses waiting for something miraculous, for destiny helper to come and save you. Breaking news, no one is coming to save your ass. You're going to do it, or things will be. So that's enemy number one, ignorance of how the world truly works. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know how the world truly works, many of the things you do, you will never do them. Number two, misplaced education. I don't know about several parts of Europe, but I know that, and also in the Caribbean, because I see that some of you are from the Caribbean here. But I do know that the educational system in some of our countries in Africa is entirely useless, totally useless. And people argue me on that. Everything that I am today is self-education, personal education. I studied zoology for my first degree. I've never worked with it. I graduated in 1988. I've never used that certificate once. But I've worked as writer, I've worked as a public relations officer, I've worked as a remote sensing expert, because I'm growing myself. So one of the enemies that stop you, especially you Africans, you love titles. You love titles. Doctor this, prophet this, apostle this, Alhaji, chief doctor engineer. You love titles, academic titles, and then you don't have skills. So that's a big problem. Okay, relying on academic qualifications and not real world skills. It will stop you. It will stop you from achieving these things at 40. Number 3, lack of morality and discipline. I can't stress this enough. I remember in the 70s when I was in the primary school, they used to teach us things they called civic studies. And then they also used to give us moral instructions every single day. That thing helped us. It helped my generation. But today we have children who do not know their right from their left. They are not instructed. And so people grow up without morality. Somebody can walk up to you on the street and then stab you, collect your watch and go and feels nothing. That's terrible. So lack of morality, lack of discipline, and then also spending too much time groveling on entertainment. I keep telling you, if you are poor, you have no business with television, buying television in your house. Use that time you used to watch TV and read books and listen to YouTube videos that can help you. There's too much entertainment. You know everything about European soccer. You know all they play. You know Ronaldo so well. You know his birthday. You know where he shops. You know how many shoes he has. You know how much he earns. You know stupid, useless information. And you watch them, Messi, Ronaldo, all those people. And then you're watching Hollywood, Nollywood, Netflix, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day. Still watching television, plus the one you scroll on social media, and you are poor. And you are wondering why your life is like that. Because you don't know how the world works. Because you do not know that if your education versus entertainment ratio is very low, you will never succeed. So the education of your mind has to be far more priority for you than entertainment. The 4th enemy is lack of delayed gratification. The moment small money enters your hand, first thing, you want to buy iPhone 17. iPhone 17. First thing, because you have no delayed gratification. I used iPhone 6 for a long time, and I used it, for years that people were literally begging me, Ogbo, change this thing. But I'm like, it's serving me. I make calls with it. The apps work. What do I need to do why do I need iPhone 15? So it was just recently, I had to do, because of the video, and of course because of the video quality and the work I do and then the lighting, I have iPhone 11 used. I didn't buy it new. I bought it used from Facebook Marketplace. Somebody bought it from Facebook Marketplace when I was in the US, and I paid him $400 for it. I'm still recovering because I think it's too much money for a phone. And then why do I need iPhone 17? But of course, if it is for my work, like I do a lot of, as you know, a lot of content production, yeah, I can do that. But there are people who, once they get money, the first thing, buy a car, buy this. And I said, don't buy a car before you buy a house. And people came to abuse me. A foolish man, how can you tell us not to buy a car? We can use car for business. I use car to move around. And then you find yourself renting until you are in your 60s and 70s because you missed it before 40. Number 5, big enemy, financial illiteracy. I was financially illiterate. In fact, this was part of why I missed most of the marks by the time I was 40, because I was earning lots of money, working in Shell. Then from Shell, I went to Chevron when they almost tripled. Chevron almost tripled what Shell was paying me. So I left Shell and went to Chevron. Lots of money was coming in. And then 6 years after in Chevron, I went back to Shell. Shell called me back and paid me like twice what Shell. It was a lot of money. But I didn't manage it well because I didn't know I didn't have financial literacy. Because there are 3 pillars of financial freedom. Pillar number 1, skills to make money. Pillar number 2, skills to manage it. Pillar number 3, skills to multiply that. I only had skills to make money. Most of my years before I was 40, I could make money. I was making a lot of money. Each time I traveled, for Chevron or Shell, They paid me per diem in dollars, lots of money. But I didn't have the skills to manage and to multiply that. So I missed a lot of the mark when I was 40. But what saved me now was I stumbled on Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then I also stumbled on The Richest Man in Babylon. And then a couple of books like that. Then James Allen's As a Man Thinketh. Then later, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And later, John Maxwell's Be All You Can Be. These books started waking me up. And then I started listening like crazy. Those days I would go to the US. I will always come back with 1 or 2 boxes. Extra loads of books. I was voraciously reading. Read everything Suze Oman wrote. I went to an event by Vic Johnson where he invited Bob Proctor. And I met with Bob Proctor at that time. That was 2007. So I became so voracious. That's why you're hearing this guy you are hearing today, because I had to cure my financial illiteracy. Okay? If you're in an opportunity-starved environment, it can also it can also be an enemy. All right? So you also always want to find yourself in an environment of opportunity. And then distraction is also an enemy when you are drifting before you are 40 years. Okay, are you getting value? Type in the comment section. Just interact with me. Let me know. Just type value, massive value or something. Type there. Let me just know that you are actively working. Dominic Ayog is a global citizen. Okay, what does that mean? Please put it. And then Anieta said that is voodoo. Yeah. I guess Anieta, you were talking about the guys who carry their phones, so that prophet would command money from the bank into their system. Yeah, that's voodoo. Yeah. Okay. Great. Odushile Sadiq. Thank you. Okay. All right. So now there are 6 areas in the next 1 week we'll be discussing. So all these 40 things that you should accomplish before you are 40, there are 6 areas. They are divided into 6 areas. Okay? So, the first part of it is spirituality. So I'm going to tell you, so the 40 things you should accomplish before you are 40. It's all embracing all of your life. We are not just talking about money. That's a tiny part of it. So we'll talk about spirituality, the importance of having a very strong spiritual foundation. A very strong spiritual foundation is important for success in every other thing, in your relationship, in marriage. This is my 29th year in marriage. My marriage is doing well because of the spiritual foundation that my wife and I have. That is what is keeping us together. Because a lot of people get married and they are looking at the body parts, and they're looking at the women are looking at the man's potentials and maybe his bank account. The man is looking at her body parts, her statistics, like men call it. Those things will fade out within 3 to 6 weeks. Those things. And then her body, if it is her body that you're married, the body will change. Her body will change. By the time she's had the first child, if she was a size 10, there are women who have gone from size 10, size 12, all the way to size 18 after they got married. So if you married her because of the body, so what happens after she pops up the babies and then she's now size 18? Is that going to be the end of your life? So that's why spiritual foundation is so powerful in everything. Spiritual foundation is also what empowers you financially. When you have a great spiritual foundation, you are so financially empowered because you start seeing the world very, very differently. And that is why is my spiritual foundation that I have been using to teach and to encourage all of you to define what success means to you, not what it means to the world. Because by my spiritual foundation, I know that a man's life, a man's worth is not measured by his physical possession. But if you don't have a very strong foundation, you think that you are here for comfort, to acquire things, and then there's a simple question that Christ asked: what shall it profit a man if he or she gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? That is spiritual foundation. You need it. Spiritual foundation is what makes you a loving person. You will never hurt another human being, no matter the inducement. Because of your spiritual foundation, you will never hurt another person. You will never cheat, steal, or kill, or take advantage of another man's wife or another person's property. The second part, of course, is family, which you've already heard me talk about. So we're going to talk about your family goals within 40 years and the things you should have accomplished at 40. We'll also talk about money and finances. We'll talk about your physical and mental health. Okay. We'll also talk about your social impact, because you were created for impact. But lots of people just live and die, they accumulate wealth, grow their pot belly with the things, and then die and never impact any human being. What a sad narrative. And sixth, we'll talk about, of course, your work and your career. So let's go straight on to talk about the 40 things. So over the next 5 days, we are going to take the 40 of them. So some days we'll do 6, some days we'll do 10, and until we talk about the 40. And then what I want you to do, even as you share, pick up the things that you're learning and little things, and then share, tag me, tag your friends, and let's have a conversation around each of these 40 things. Okay, and then tell me where you are. As I mentioning the 40 things, the first one, when I finish talking about it, you can type maybe number 1, yes, if you've achieved that, or you say, let's find a way. Let's say if you've achieved it, say done. If you're yet to achieve it, just say in progress. If you're not even aware of it at all, you have not started there, then just say yet to start or something like that. Okay, so I mentioned this first one, each one I mentioned, so all of you just do self-assessment, because this is a coaching session. So authentically tell yourself, all right, this one is done, this one is in progress, or this one is not yet started. So the first one is to establish a daily spiritual practice of prayer, meditation, reflection, and journaling. At the time before your 40th day, you should have, because I was just telling you about spirituality a while ago, and these are spiritual discipline: prayer, fasting, meditation, reflecting, and journaling. And I will tell you here, I practice intermittent fasting, and it is powerful because food at 40 years, when I see some people eating, people who are 40, 50, 60, eating the quantity and the amount of food, you are eating yourself. Because from 40 and 50, you don't need as much food. This human body doesn't even need as much food. And then, so what intermittent fasting does for me, and then occasional fasting, so occasionally I do 3 days, then occasionally I do 10 days. What it does for me is give me this incredible clarity of thought. It also gives me a very very strong sense of closeness with God, because I have conversations with God. Any of you can have it. And I'm not talking about religion, because religion is not spirituality. What I'm discussing is not religion. I'm discussing a very, very personal relationship with your maker. He knows you, and you know him. You know each other on a personal level, one-on-one. That's what I'm talking about. The fearlessness that what I'm telling you here gives me, the clarity it gives me every day, having established a daily spiritual practice of prayer and meditation and reflection and journaling, is fantastic, because it empowers me, gives me the energy to, and then the direction to move through my day without distraction. Okay, so type for this number 1. Lawson says done. Very good. Okay, Bernard in progress. Malik done. Fantastic, Malik. Anietia up and done. Fantastic. Okay, Chinyere, number 1 is progress. Fantastic. Excellent. You're all doing well. Okay, second one. at 40, you should have read through the Bible or your preferred holy book. Preferred, again, I'm not talking about religion. Because for me, when I read the Bible, I do not read it as a religious book because it is not. To me, that's not my perspective of reading the Bible. Okay? So yours might be the Quran, yours might be the whatever your preferred holy book is. Now, and I'm qualifying it holy book. How do you know a holy book? Holy book is the one that makes you holy. If a book you're reading is making you bitter, if a book you're reading is making you violent, if the book is encouraging you to not love your neighbor as you love yourself, that's not holy. Okay, so whatever your preferred holy book is, read it 10 times. Sometimes some people have read Stoic literature. Sometimes people have read even something like William Shakespeare so many times because Shakespeare has lots of wisdom. Sometimes some people have read books like that written by Aesop's Fable, and then they read through it every year. It makes you incredibly wise. All right. So, okay. So rate yourself. Done. In progress. Yet to start. Number 3. The third thing you should have achieved by the time you are 40 is that you should have identified at this time what your calling is. What exactly are you here for? So your calling is a combination of your purpose, the reason that you are here, the contribution that you are here to make, and your character. So that's what your calling is. And then the Japanese have a process they call Aikigai that they use to help you to identify what is it that you are actively focused on. Because if at 40, you lack focus. One of the saddest messages I've gotten when I was on live television was a 44-year-old guy. He sent me the message on 44. Between 40 and 44, I forget the particular age, but there was 4. And then he said, Mr. Ogbo, what do you do when you don't know what to do? He said, I'm 40s, in my 40s. I do not know what to do. Do you know it's a very sad thing that people are in their 40s and they have not, you've had 40 years of your life and you've not been able to identify what your one calling that you are here for. Mine was in 1981 when I was a teenager. I read a book called The Mustard Seed Conspiracy. I forget the guy who wrote that book, but I'm sure I can always read it. The Mustard Seed Conspiracy. That was the year as a 15-year-old. I wasn't quite 16, but I was going to 16 in 1981. But as a 15-year-old, I read that book and I realized what my calling was. And so that it was in that year that I was having a conversation with God, and then he told me that he is sending me to the Pacific, African, and Caribbean countries. I didn't know what PAC countries were at the time. There was nothing like internet then. There was nothing. But it was so clear. Now, because I know my calling, it has guided all my conversations. I have had so many opportunities to move my family, first to Canada or to the United States, so many opportunities. But because I understand my calling, it affects the choices I made. I'm called for Africans. I'm called for the Pacific people. I'm called Pacific countries, and I'm called for the Caribbeans. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, knowing your calling makes you a very powerful individual, and it keeps you from being distracted by anything. All right, so type this. Type for number 3. Are you done? Are you in progress, or are you yet to start? Okay. Bunker TG is asking, how can a man know his purpose? What we are going to do, I'm going to do a training for that. I'm going to do a training for that to help you discover what your purpose. We still have over 900 days, so don't be in a hurry. Okay, fantastic. Now, number 4, very critical. Very critical. Everyone type moral compass. Type moral compass. That is one way I want to make you understand how powerful this is. Type moral compass. And those of you in YouTube as well, type moral compass as you watched it. Moral compass. Okay. Now, before age 40, you should have defined your strong moral values and live by them. You are not compromising. Let me give you a personal example. I said I was not going to have sex before marriage. It was tough for a young man, and especially for someone like me who, I'm gifted and I'm good looking. I was gifted like in secondary school, in the university. I'm gifted, I'm good looking. And then God added a little bit of cash, sprinkled a little bit of cash and all that. So, so lots of people were, so it wasn't an easy decision, but that was my own. I said I wanted to remain chaste. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, I got married 2nd December 1995 on my 30th birthday, and I'd never known what the body of a woman was like until that wedding night. 29 years after, I am still with that one woman, and she's the only one I've ever known what her body is like. And of course, there have been so many opportunities all over the world as I've been traveling, but I've never taken any of them and won't. Why? Because I defined my strong moral values, my moral compass. So you've got to define your values and live by them, that you will tell the truth no matter what. You will tell the truth that you're going to be respectful of people, that you are not going to hurt anybody, cheat anybody, do anything. You've got to define it. Because if you don't define it, by the time you're put under pressure, you will collapse like the house that was built on sand. So what are your strong moral values? Okay, integrity, truth, at all times, love, you love other people, you really want to do them good. I mean, the way I feel about you, I feel such a strong connection, like really pour myself into you because it's my value. Love is my value. And I remember when I work with organizations, and then when I'm doing a program like we just completed the Financial Fitness Challenge, do you know I take time to pray, sometimes mentioning the names of the people I am coaching, that they will discover, their potential, that they will succeed in whatever they are doing because of my strong moral value, that if anybody pays me, I have the moral obligation to help them to succeed. So define your strong moral values. Purity should be there. And then if you've missed it before, you can still start all over again. Because I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, purity, we live in a very, very highly sexualized world. So much immorality, sexual perversion, and people feel it's normal. Young people feel it's normal to cohabit and be sleeping with each other. People think it's normal. It is not normal. It's a thing of our generation. It's not normal. And so the way to save yourself is to define that this is the kind of person I am, and these are my boundaries. And then so that you can also pass on those values to your children. Purity, integrity, truth, honesty, discipline in everything. And like we taught our children, we told them, never leave a place worse than you met it. So always leave a place better than you met them. So define your strong moral compass and live by them. All right, so how are you doing here? Okay, Jay Justice said, my first time with you here. I'm enjoying it and I'm feeling bad for my past life. No, don't worry, Jay. Don't worry. We are doing this for 1,000 days and I'm going to. I have also had failures. I have also had so many failings, and I'm going to make it very accessible for you. Like some of you, after you watch that video that I published on 3 things that your father should have told you. So many people, no, that's the one that, that's it. That's the one I talked about, the sex addiction, how pornography, masturbation, sex, addiction are destroying the lives of men. And then I've been having lots of you reaching out to me for help. So I assure you, I'm going to help you. I assure you, I'm going to break the bands of pornography, of masturbation, of homosexuality, whatever it is you want to come out of. I'm going to help you. I'll break it. That's actually why I'm here. I'll help you break it. And do you know why I'm confident? Because I went through those things. I suffered them. Ah, my goodness. I suffered. Pornography dealt with me. It dealt with me for years, and then I not only conquered it and overcame it, I have the keys which I will give you, and they're very, very simple, very easy. You will overcome it. So Jay, don't feel bad for your past life. It is not late at all. As long as you're breathing, it's not late. And I'm going to help you, okay? So don't feel bad about that. Let me see. Dominic says, my biggest strength is delayed gratification. Fantastic, okay? Miracle Emeka says, business, import and sales of, okay, you're introducing yourself. Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, fantastic. Yes, TG Bunker, yes, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Believe me, you'll be okay. And I will make sure that you are. I will make sure that you are. Okay, very good. So that is number 4. Then number 5, the 5th thing you should have achieved by the time you're 40 is to conquer your major childhood fear. If you were afraid of heights, like many of us were, or afraid of water, swimming, when you were a child, so by 40 you should have conquered it. You should have conquered that phobia. I know many of us carry our childhood traumas and phobias into our beyond 40. You shouldn't do. You know, one of the strangest stories my mother told me. In their own time, she passed a major school, and that school was in Calabar, where we know today as Cross River State. But at that time, I don't think it was Cross River State. Missionaries were still there, so she passed. It was a very rare school, rare educational opportunity. And do you know why my mother didn't go? It has something to do with the fear of water. And then her guardian, the uncle, I don't know, I don't remember now whether it was her own fear or the fear of her guardian. So you see how phobia can actually cost you a major decision, a major opportunity in life. So list your phobia and then deal with them. Okay, there are some that is okay, that I think you can keep, like my own. I have phobia for snakes. I hate snakes. I hate them. But I think my son has conquered it because he went somewhere in East Africa, and then I saw him. I think there was a tourism a program going on there, and this guy carried these snakes and put around their neck. I hope I will overcome that, someday. but I think it's okay to keep that one. And then one of the things on my 100 things to do before I die is to do a plane jump. To jump, what do you guys call it? Skydiving. All right. So, and I've been discussing that with my son. We'll make that happen. So I want to conquer the fear of jumping. I wish I had done it before I was 40. But since you are younger than me, I hope it's something that you can do. All right. And the last one that we will take for today, is at 40, you should have conquered all forms of addiction. By 40, you should have conquered all forms of addiction. And then don't be discouraged, because I still remember my own 40. I was still battling with these addictions. But I was determined that I was not going to carry them further into my 40s, how much more into my 50s. So you should have conquered drugs in all ramifications, alcohol in all ramifications, because come to think about it, because if alcohol or drugs take over your life, you are going nowhere. You should have overcome pornography. That's a major one for men. And I know that a couple of women also have those issues with pornography. And let me also add homosexuality here. The reason is, I find the way that people who are involved in that lifestyle give themselves excuses, and how they make the totality of their being about their so-called sexual orientation. And then some of them have come to tell me, they were born that way. You were not born that way. You know why? I went to secondary school, and then many of you went to secondary school. Many of you were initiated into that thing when you were in the secondary school. I saw it in my own secondary school. I was shocked. And then I remember sometime in the late 1980s, I was leading a missionary team to somewhere, a school in Bacana. And the matron of that particular girls' school, I won't mention the name because some of you here will know the name, called me and said, Ogbo, he said, listen, 98, 99% of all these children here, were practicing lesbianism, that she as a mother, that her pain was not about these other bigger ones, but that as soon as the young children, 10 years old, 11 years old, come in there, that the bigger ones grab them and initiate them, and that is it for life. So she said, please, if there's anything you can do for them, please do. So I really encourage you, if you want to give it up, I can help you. I can help you because I have seen things. I have been in situations where I was praying for people who were having those issues like porn, masturbation, homosexuality, and all that, and demon spirits spoke through them. God is my witness in what I'm telling you. This world is bigger than, it's not just physical things you're seeing. This world is deeper than you know. And so you really want to, anything that is perversion of any, stop giving yourself excuses. By 40, you should have conquered them. And then similar addictions. Do you know why? My God, you can never be free. Addiction of any sort, anything that you can't live without, until your body will crave for it so badly that it will mess up your mind. Okay? All right, so this is the number 6. Tomorrow we are going to continue with the number 7. We can do 10 of them tomorrow, of the 40 things you should achieve before you are 40, in those 6-7 dimensions that I talked about. Has this been very, very phenomenal and useful to you? Has this opened your eyes in any way? Please type in the comment section. Type in the comment section and tell me, what was your aha moment? What was your key surprise today? What is your key surprise takeaway today? What made your day today in the life? Please, everyone, type in the comment section and let me know. And I would like you, if you have not shared it, you see that this is information that everyone, don't you agree? Everyone needs the information you heard tonight. And that if all of us actually hear this information and work on it, don't you see how our country can begin to change? Don't you see how we can all begin to grow wealthy together and love each other and have a great society? Therefore, share it, okay? Share it. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. So, we will continue tomorrow at the usual 8 p.m. So whatever happens, I love you, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever happens, keep showing up. And don't feel bad if you've missed the mark. Trust me. I'm going to work with you and help you and give you tools and tell you how to make your life the best version ever. And then until I see you tomorrow, remain blessed.